Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about how the CW tried to make Ryan Wilder's Batwoman similar to that of Terry McGinnis' Batman from Batman Beyond. Okay, let me interject right here. Okay, so when I recorded this sometime earlier this year. Not too much earlier, but around the time of after season 3 wrapped up of Batwoman. And I was gonna wait until they got like a fourth season to see if they added any more elements to that Terry McGinnis. But as you now know, the show got canceled. So, yeah, I kind of wish I would have put this out sooner before the show got canceled because I don't want people trying to think, oh, you just trying to like piss on Ryan and Batwoman and stuff like that because you like Batman Beyond Bat. No, it's not that. It's just I saw similarities to it. So I still feel like I'm going to put this video out because I recorded stuff for it. So, let's resume. Okay, so when I started watching season 2 of Batwoman, I started to notice something. Like, they introduced the character of Ryan Wilder. And when they got the description of her, they said, she's a black lesbian who has like, she was streetwise and had like, I think like a criminal past or something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, she's going to be like a bad girl, you know what I'm saying? But then when you see the show, she's she's misunderstood. Like, she did have a criminal past, but it wasn't her fault and everything. And so because of that, she got put in the system and all that other stuff. And she does have like a snappy personality and a bit of a rude one, but then as time passed, she became a bit nicer and softer. And then when you get into season 3, she's very soft and nice. Like, she's no longer that person with that bite that she had in season 2. And so when which I like to call the second pilot of like when season 2 came, I started to notice something. I'm just like, that's really interesting. It has kind of like a Terry McGinnis kind of vibe to it. And so then I'm just thinking to myself, okay, I don't necessarily trust the people at the CW Arrowverse to come up with their own unique character. Because one thing about comic books is that they steal from other comic books and other comic book companies and this and that. And when it comes to Terry McGinnis' Batman, he is well known, well loved, but for whatever reason, they won't bring him back on screen. Ever since that show ended, he has disappeared, and he's only been relegated to that of the comics and stuff. And so, like, they were gonna make a Batman Beyond movie, but never did. And other than that, he's never ever been brought back, which is confusing. Like, why? Why don't they want to bring him back? Is it because they have to pay the people who created him on the TV show for the rights and everything? Probably so. And so, but that didn't stop them from taking elements from him and then injecting it into somebody else. And so when I started watching the first episode of season 2, I started to notice something. Now, hopefully this isn't going to be no long video, and there aren't that many similarities. It's just certain little things that I just can't help but want to notice, because they didn't take from none of the Robins or none of the bad girls or nothing like that. They just took, and they didn't take really from nothing from Batwoman, the Kate Kane one. They just kind of injected a little bit of Terry into her and stuff. And so the first similarity, of course, is that both Terry and Ryan are created for their own respected shows. See, when Batman Beyond came about, because the Warner Brother people, they wanted a new Batman series that focused more on a younger Batman for younger viewers, because they wanted younger viewers to connect more, kind of like how Robin is. I don't understand why TV networks do that. Like, when I was a kid growing up, I had adult superheroes and I still connected with them. But they always want to bring in younger heroes for, like, younger kids. So what they do, Power Rangers, first season, teenagers. X-Men Evolution, they turned the X-Men adults into teenagers. I think it was called Iron Man Armor something. What was that Iron Man? Okay, after the first Iron Man movie came out, Nickelodeon came out with an Iron Man cartoon series, and that Iron Man was a teenage version of Tony Stark and all his friends and stuff. And dude, I think there was something else that turned somebody into teenagers. Oh, Spider-Man. He started off as a teenager, but when I remember Spider-Man, he was an adult in the cartoon series, and then they came out with Spectacular Spider-Man when he was in middle school of all things, and then Ultimate Spider-Man he was in high school. So they keep trying to like bring in all these young. They're trying to bring in all these adult heroes and make them into young for little kids, and that's so annoying and everything. Just bring in Teen Titans or or Young Justice or Young Avengers, something like that. But anyway, so they wanted a younger Batman, and so they had Bruce Timm do that stuff. But Bruce didn't want to make Batman into a teenager like Bruce Wayne because he already established Batman as an adult, and whatchamacallit, Batman the animated series, and he was gonna tie this show into his older show, and he couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? And so then he decided, okay, let's just create something new. Let's set it in the future. Bruce Wayne is old and retired, and they bring in a new Batman, which comes in that of Terry McGinnis. But then, of course, that ran for 3 seasons, and it was actually darker than Batman the animated series. So that probably didn't make the executives over at Warner Brothers all that happy. So then years later, they came out with The Batman, which was a younger Batman in his year one, in his early like 20s and stuff. And in the first season, he had more of an upbeat personality until fans are like, look, we don't like this. We don't like his pointy chin. So what they did, they started bringing in more elements of Batman in animated series, the square chin, the broodiness, the rudeness, and stuff like that. So it didn't work. So stop turning our adult heroes into teens. But this is how Batman Beyond came about. And Ryan Wilder, as we all know, she was created only for the sole purpose of because Ruby Rose left the role of Batwoman, Kate Kane, and the showrunner, for some bizarre reason, didn't recast at that time because she thought Ruby would come back, and then decided to create a new character, which is Ryan Wilder. And so that's interesting all on its own. Now, the second similarity is that they both have criminal pasts, but they, for the most part, are innocent. Now, I can't remember the specifics of both their criminal past. I think Ryan had was caught selling drugs, but she didn't really sell drugs. I guess she was kind of like framed or set up or something like that. But she still took the fall for it, and she got put in the system. So she got to meet all these little criminal people and get some street smarts and this and that. Her adoptive mother was murdered by the Wonderland gang, and as a result, she is homeless, living on the streets, and all this other stuff. Terry, I forget the specifics of what happened to him, but he was hanging out with some bad kids, and this one dude who used to always protect him. Like when Terry get picked on, he'll beat the kids up for him. And then he was hanging out with them. They did something really bad, and he was just hanging with them. So he got taken in as being like an accessory. So he got a juvie record as a result. And he's a nice guy, just like Ryan's a nice girl and everything, but they have like chips on their shoulders as a result of being put in the system for something they didn't do. Now, the third similarity is how they got their bat suits. Neither person on the Bat team just gave it to him. They stole it. See, Terry stole his suit because the guy who worked for Wayne Powers hired like this assassin type person to kill Terry's dad because Terry's dad found something out on a disc. This caused Terry to go to Bruce Wayne, and he's all like, let the cops handle it. And Terry later finds out that, oh, you're Batman and everything, when he snuck into the Batcave by mistake, trying to help a bat that was stuck in the little clock tower thing. So when Bruce couldn't help because he's too old and he didn't want to go to the police, Terry went back to Wayne Manor, stole the bat suit, and became Batman. but some people call it Batman Beyond or Batman Tomorrow. And Ryan, she was just a homeless girl living in her van, and she sees a giant plane crash. And see, she's on probation. She can't get off it. She can't find a good job. She can't, and without finding a job, she can't, have an apartment of her own and stuff. And so, like, as a result, she's homeless and everything. So she's down and out looking for an opportunity. Here comes a plane crash. Um, Kate Kane is supposedly in it. The pilot is in there, and the bat suit is there. After trying to save like the pilot and everything and all that rubble, she sees the bat suit, and of course she's gonna steal it and stuff. And so she uses this kind of like, hey, I can turn my life around and everything. And so she steals the suit and she becomes Batwoman, which angers Luke and everything. But eventually he lets her become Batwoman. And that's funny because when Terry stole his suit, that angered Bruce Wayne. And then after seeing how incredible he was, Bruce let him be Batman. Now, the next similarity, it's kind of similarity, kind of not, but I'm going to just throw it in anyway. The bat suit, the color scheme of it, black and red. Now, I don't know exactly when Kate Kane came in the comics. I know there was the original one Batwoman from back in the day who had a brightly colored outfit, and she was supposed to be this kind of, oh, Bruce Wayne isn't gay or a pedophile. He's not messing around with Robin. So they threw her in to kind of like throw readers off, you know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know when Kate Kane was created. I really don't. So I don't know if she came before or after Terry. But all I remember from my viewing experience is that I saw Batman Beyond first, way before I ever saw whoever Batwoman was. And Batman had a black suit and a red like bat symbol on the chest. His weapons were that of like red and black. And he had a Batmobile created specifically for him. Now coming in, this isn't so much a Ryan Wilder, more like a Kate Kane thing. Her color scheme is black and red, and her weapons are black and red. And, and we didn't know Bruce had a Batmobile in the Batcave in season 1, but apparently he did. That little race car looking thing in season 2 and 3. And its color scheme is black and red. Now, when we see the Bat suit in season 1 before Kate took it over, everything was black. And all the weapons were silver gray. Then she came along and turned everything red and black. And ironically, he had a Batmobile that was already black and red. Now, come on now. So of course, that Batmobile is created specifically for Ryan because the show needed a Batmobile and everything like that. Now, trying to think. Now, there aren't really that many similarities afterwards, but then when you get into like season 3, they start to bring in a couple a little bit more. Now, Terry is very famous for fighting the Joker, but not the real Joker. He fights Joker 2.0 in Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. People assume it's the real Joker, but it's really Tim Drake, who had like all these like nanoproby things in him that transformed him into the Joker 2.0. And Terry fought him. And Batwoman season 3, she fights Joker 2.0, which is her brother, because the Joker did some weird thing with a joy buzzer and it made him think that he was the Joker. So I still don't understand that whole story arc. Anyway, he becomes Joker 2.0 and they both defeat the Joker 2.0 and turn both person back to normal. And how do they turn people back to normal? With the joy buzzer. Batman Beyond, he took the joy buzzer and he electrocuted the chip that turned Tim Drake into the Joker. Ryan took the joy buzzer, because that's what turned Marcus into Joker to begin with, and she took it and zapped him back and he turned back to Marcus. Tell me that is not a coincidence. Now, come on now. Tell me that is not a coincidence. It is, and you know it is. And so, um, another similarity, which is kind of not really a similarity, but kind of is that both Terry and Ryan are related to somebody of the older Bat mythos. So it was revealed in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon series that Terry is actually the clone, the genetic clone of Bruce Wayne. See, they put some type of mutated retrovirus thing in his dad. When his dad did it with his mom, it created Terry, and that DNA that was in that mutagen was that of Bruce Wayne. So Terry was always determined to become the next Batman because it's in his DNA, as well as his little brother Matt. Now, um, what's her name? Um, Ryan. It turns out she has a relative related to the Bat mythos as well. Her brother, who is Marcus, ended up becoming that of, Joker 2.0. So they're related to somebody of the Bat mythos in some kind of weird, comic booky kind of way. And so one would think that since Terry is related, oh, here's another similarity. One would think that since Terry is related to that Bruce, when Bruce finally does die in the comics, Terry is probably gonna inherit like his fortune, probably, if Damien doesn't, or one of the other Robins don't, depending on what the will says. But if he does, then he inherits. Ryan, for some bizarre reason, in season 3. So here's the thing: Kate took over Wayne Industries in season 1. Then when she left, somehow she left it to that of Ryan for some bizarre reason in season 3. So now Ryan is in charge of Wayne Enterprises and stuff. Makes no sense, but hey, whatever. So those are like the similarities that I can think of when it comes to that of both characters. Basically, it's like the showrunners is like, okay, look, we can't come up with nobody on our own. But hey, since the Arrowverse loves to steal from Batman, who else can we steal from there? And it's kind of like, oh, we can steal him. Terry McGinnis, because people have probably forgot about him since '98 and everything. And since he hasn't been on screen since then, since in the comics, who really reads the comics? Oh, there's another similarity I forgot about. The comics now. Both of them are relegated to the comics now. Like I said before, Terry has appeared in the comics, and that's where he's been doing his Batman stuff. And Ryan Wilder has now just been introduced into the comics as well. So yeah, there are so many similarities here and there by both characters. It's uncanny and everything. But the biggest similarity is still in the Batsuit and the whole joy buzzer of Joker 2.0. It is what it is. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.